वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वति नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यम् श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकम् वार्तिककारमन्यान् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। अपारकरुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणम् श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम्। यत्कृपालेशमात्रेण पुमान् पूर्णः प्रजायते तं वन्दे ब्रह्मविद्धुर्यं सद्गुरुं चन्द्रशेखरम्। संसारसागरनिमग्नजनोद्धितीर्षुः यो वातरच्छिवनृसिंहगुरुच्छलेन जाढ्यान्धकारहरणं करुणासमुद्रम् तं दक्षिणास्य मनिशं हृदि भावयामि। सदात्मध्याननिरतं विषयेभ्यः पराङ्मुखम् नौमि शास्त्रेषु निष्णातं चन्द्रशेखरभारतीम्। साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं पदम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरम्
सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरम्
गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्।
गोविन्दं
गोविन्दं
परमानन्दं
परमानन्दं
सद्गुरुं
सद्गुरुं
प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्।
प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्।
मोक्षकारणसामग्र्यां भक्तिरेव गरीयसी
मोक्षकारणसामग्र्यां
मोक्षकारणसामग्र्यां
भक्तिरेव
भक्तिरेव गरीयसे।
गरीयसी।
स्वस्वरूपानुसन्धानं भक्तिरित्यभिधीयते
स्वस्वरूपानुसन्धानं
स्वस्वरूपानुसन्धानं
भक्तिरित्यभिधीयते।
भक्तिरित्यभिधीयते।
स्वात्मतत्त्वानुसन्धानं भक्तिरित्यपरे जगुः
स्वात्मतत्त्वानुसन्धानं
स्वात्मतत्त्वानुसन्धानं
भक्तिरित्यपरे
भक्तिरित्यपरे
जगुः।
जगुः।
का भक्तिः इति पृच्छेत् तत्त्वानुसन्धानं स्वात्मतत्त्वानुसन्धानम् अथवा स्वरूपानुसन्धानं भक्तिः। सा भक्तिः गरीयसी मोक्षकारणसामग्र्याम् among the host of the sadhanas which are all moksha karanam, either directly or indirectly. Bhakti gariyasi, highest is bhakti. What is bhakti? Swaswarupa anusandhanam, atma swarupa anusandhanam, ityukte atma vicharaha, self-inquiry. Who am I? Who am I? If this question is asked to anyone, the person would laugh. Everyone knows who I am. So what is this question? This, we are not asking about the body, which is obviously different from me, which is obviously different from me. How do I know? Because I say my body, it means it's a possession, like anything, my book, my house, my car, my body. Same way mind also, same way sense organs. So these are all possessions. But who is the possessor? The possessor which doesn't have any possession, who is independent of all the possessions, who is available in all the states, meaning waking, dreaming, and in deep sleep state. In deep sleep state, the person is not aware of even the mind also. Not only the body, even the mind. But the person is very well available that, that he recollects after waking up. Therefore, I am is there, but this I am, that Atma is superimposed. It is loaded with so many attributes like body, mind, senses, through which the world, the relations, everything. And therefore, my son, my daughter, my wife, my family, everything becomes mine. Either me or mine. This is what this samsara is. Therefore, inquiring into who am I, it means all these have to be unloaded. Everything without any vichara loaded. I am so and so is avichara siddha. I am so and so. It is the person who gives his own biodata. It is avichara siddha. The conclusion arrived at without any enquiry. It is clearly seen that it is born of ignorance, ajnanam, not knowing the nature of the self, true self, atma, without enquiry, taking for granted. That is how our whole vyavahara Our whole Vyavahara we do without any vichara. And we take that to be Satyam. Then we are in soup. That is what samsara is. Therefore, if you want to be free, then try to know who is this I. Everything is centered on this I, the self, Atma. Therefore, Atma Vichara. That is what bhakti is. Every sadhana intended for this alone, whether we call it bhakti or jnanam, it is same. So when the bhakti, what we are talking about, when we understand that this Atma is independent, it is Satyam, and everything else is unreal, Mithya, everything enjoys existence, Satta and Spurti, Satta and Spurti because of me, that me alone is Satyam, knowing me as I am, then I am free. Then all these attributes, body, mind, everything becomes a luxury. That is what this moksha is. Therefore, this is the highest expression of bhakti. Bhakti is not just love for some devata, ishta devata, etc. Those are all bhakti to begin with. Ajnani begins with that and stops with that. But as a spiritual sadhaka, the person should not stop. In fact, the religious life begins with upasana, nitya sandhya vandanam, puja, yajna, etc. If a person stops with that, it means yes, this life he has not utilized properly for further growth, for further venturing into this spiritual truth, which only human beings have privilege. That is why jantunam narajanna durlabham. Therefore, without inquiring into, choice is given. You want to perpetuate in samsara or want to be free, just by knowing. Knowledge alone. We don't have to do any shirasasana and all. Knowing, scrapping the ignorance. That takes time. So one has to be diligent, continuously keep on studying Shastram. That is the only way to replace all the wrong, preconceived notions, opinions about oneself. If real I is understood, then false I, through which everything associated, will drop. Therefore, irrespective of whatever happens around me or happens to this body, mind, sense complex, I am free. That is what real freedom is. This is what everybody aspires for it. This is what every Acharya also, Shastram also says, all great Mahatmas say this alone. But we ask only for Dharma, Artha, Kama, stuck in this Parichinna Purushartha, which is prayers in the language of Kathopanishad, which give pleasant good things in life, but not the real thing, that is moksha, freedom. Therefore, we have to grow to be that person to ask for jnanam from the Lord. That is a real bhakti. So Atma Vichara is, Tattva Vichara, Shastra Vichara is real bhakti. And we saw the other definition also, Swatma Tattva Anusandhanam iti bhakti apare jaguhu. This shloka explained in two ways. That also we saw in the last class. So the next shloka, okay, up to the previous shloka, we have seen from the very beginning, Manishya Janma, Prashamsa, etc. Then Adhikari, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha. What is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti? The fourfold qualifications which are required, in the presence of which alone a person can becomes eligible or becomes eligible to understand the truth, or a person becomes eligible over a period of time by studying Shastra. By studying a Shastram also for a length of time, it is these qualifications also gets developed. We get more and more clarity. Therefore, Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, and desire for freedom, which turns slowly into desire for knowledge. In the beginning, it is desire for freedom, moksha. It is intense from manda to madhyama, madhyama to tivra, and tivra to it converts into jignasu. The person becomes a jignasu, the desire of knowledge, because moksha is only through knowledge, not by any other means that Shankaracharya very clearly pointed out in the beginning that chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastu palabdhaye. There are only two yogas in the world. One is karma yoga, other one is jnana yoga. Everything other than jnana yoga comes under karma yoga. Even bhakti also, bhakti or whatever it is, raja yoga, any yoga, meant for chitta shuddhi, meant for preparation, meant for cleansing the malam of the antakaranam. And the antakaranam, there are so many malams, impurities. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, Raga, Dvesha. And that alone are depicted in Mahabharata or in Devi Mahatmyam as asuras. That is why Bhagavan talks about Devi Sampat, Asuri Sampat. In so many places in Gita, Bhagavan talks about values, etc. All meant for cultivating or discovering that person in me, that person is qualified. So having talked about that, okay, now the person assume that becomes an adhikari. Then what? Can he pick up any Upanishad? Can he pick up Brahma Sutra or Gita study on his own? No. The person is now sadhana chatushtaya sampannaha, endowed with the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, the fourfold qualifications. Can he independently do Shastra Vichara? Cannot be. Because Shastram being a Pramanam, and the Pramanam is not available with the person, it exists outside. If we have the Pramanam, we can operate. We don't have to ask permission from anyone. I have eyes, I can operate independently. I don't have to ask permission from anyone to gain the knowledge of sight. I use my eyes independently from my other sense organs. Shastram is the sixth sense organ, which is not available right away for me to use as it should be used. That is why we require a guide. Like if we go to any new place, we require a guide. Similarly, guide is required and guide is the guru. About the sequence, if you see the sequence, next is guru. Guru upasadanaha. Through upasadanam. Approaching the guru upasadanam, that is the next topic. So Acharya says here, Purvokta sadhana sampannasya krityam aha ukteti. Purvokta sadhana sampannasya. Sadhana sampannasya referring to the person who is endowed with the sadhana, the means for the sadhya. Sadhya is moksha. Sadhanam is the means. So therefore, without the means sadhya, moksha is not possible. And mokshas, for that, the sadhanams are required. That is, a person must be endowed with this sadhanam. And the immediate sadhanam is jnanam, that is shastram. So to encourage to inquire into the shastram, a person must have certain preparation qualification. That is a sadhanam, purvokta sadhana sampannasya. And Shastrajanya Jnanena Moksha. Jnanam, which is gained from the Shastram, that is a means, direct means, the only means for moksha. So sadhanam, when we say means, the person is with all the means, is ready to inquire into the Shastram with the support of a guru, a guide, a teacher. So therefore, purvokta sadhana sampannaha, referring to the person, tasya, purvoktahi, mentioned before, and all the shlokas previous, we have seen all in the shlokas, Viveka, Vairagya, Samadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, Mumukshutvam, all these sadhanas were discussed. Therefore, a person endowed with Purvokta Sadhanaihi, Ukta Sadhanaihi, Sampannasya, Krityam, what he must do, Krityam, Karyam, Kim Kartavyam, what he is supposed to do then. That is Ukta, that is said here, this shloka, let us read. Ukta Sadhana Sampannastattva Jignyasuraatmanaha.
Sadhana
Sadhana
Sampannastatra Jignyasuratmanah
Jnanah
Upasided Gurum Pragyam Yasmad Bandha Vimokshanam.
Upasite Gurum Prajnam Yasmat Bandha Vimokshanam.
Vimokshanam.
Ukta Sadhana Sampannaha, referring to the person, and he is Tattva Jignyasuhu, Jignasu, like Guru Shabda. Jignasu Mumukshu, Muktumicha, Mumuksha, Muktumichuhu, Mumukshuhu. Nyatamicha Jignasa, Nyatamichuhu, Jignasuhu. Tattva Jignasuhu, Swatma Tattva Jignasuhu, referring to the person. Ah, What does he wants to know? Atmanaha Tattvam. So you to arrange the words, you have to arrange the form of a prose. Atmanaha should come before Tattva Jignasuhu. Atmanaha, the Shashti Bhakti. Tattva, the Jignasu. Jignasu is the person who wants to know. What is the subject matter of knowledge? That is Atma. That is in Shashti Bhakti. The subject matter of inquiry is Atma, therefore Atmanaha. Atmanaha Tattva Jignasuhu. Tattvam, the truth, the, the truth. Therefore Atmanaha Tattva Jignasuhu. Gurum Pragyam Upasidet. Linglakara Upasidet. Yasmat, from which Bandhavo Vimoksharam Sambhavati. Now, Ukta Sadhana Sampannaha, the person who has gone through the previous, all the preparatory steps, endowed with sadhana chatushtaya, sampatti. Ukta sadhana sampannaha is sadhana, uktani sadhanani, ukta sadhanani. Ukta sadhanaihi sampannaha, endowed with ukta sadhana sampannaha, the person, the compound referring to the person, the sadhaka. Sadhaka, sadhanam, and sadhya. Sadhaka, the person, sadhanam, the means, sadhya, the goal. Sadhaka, who is endowed with sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, and the sadhanam is pramanam shastram, and sadhyam is moksha. So pramanam is that, pramata is that, prameya is. So now we are talking about pramata. Then shastram, then what is the object of knowledge, prameyam, everything will be talked about. From the very beginning, we are talking about only pramata. Discussion on pramata, the knower. The knower has to be ready. He should be prepared. Three things are required. knower, then the means of knowledge, then what is to be known. We are discussing about knower. Therefore, Ukta Sadhana Sampannaha is a knower, Pramata. Okay, then Tattva Jignyasuhu. Tattvam is Yatartha Swarupa, the truth, the reality. Jnatam Ichuhu. The truth is Atma. Therefore, Atmanaha. Atmanaha is Vasya. Swatma. Swatma Tattva Jignyasuhu. Pratyekhatmanaha. The nature, the reality of Atma, oneself. Atma Tattva Jignyasuhu. Upasidet. Upasida is a Upanishadic word. Upasida. Upasidet. The word Upanishad also from the same dhatu. Upanishad. Upanishad, the word is constructed from a dhatu, Shadla dhatu. Visharana, Gati, Avasadana, the Avasadaneshu, Arteshu, the dhatu, the verb, the etymological derivation. Every word is derived from a root word will be there, dhatu will be there. Every word, whether it is a Kriyapadam or a Namapadam, can be mapped to a root verb, dhatu. Shadla dhatu, from which the word Upanishad is derived. Upa, ni, these are upasarga. Upa means samipe, near. Approaching. Approaching, ni, nishchayena, shadl, shadadatu, shad plus one pratyaya, quit pratyaya. Shadl is destroyer. So approaching which, for sure, nishchayena, ignorance is destroyed. So therefore, Upanishad it is. Our Guru, you can take. Approaching the Guru, the Jnanam is destroyed for sure. And Guru alone can teach Shastram. Therefore, approaching the Shastram. And Shastram and Guru are not different. Shastram, which is in the form of words, that alone flows from the mouth of the Guru also. Therefore, that's why Upasadanam. The word occurs. So in Mundaka Upanishad, Parikshalokan, Karmachitan, Brahmanaha, Nirvedamaya, Nastikrita Kritena, Tad Vigyanatam, Sab the Guru Meva Abhigachet. The person must approach a teacher. So therefore, Upasadanam, Guru Upasadanam, Sharanam Gachet. How to go and all it is said. Samit Panigi with Samit in his hand, that shows his readiness. Samit is a dry twigs to catch us fire immediately. So symbolizing that I'm ready to grasp knowledge. So therefore, symbolizing that. Or Samit, in those days, it is the Gurukulam, it's much useful for the brahmacharis. They collect all pigs because they do Nitya Yajna, Yaga, the Karma. So therefore, that is the beginning stage. That is therefore go with Samit, not with the donations and Dakshina and all. It is not said like that. Dakshina comes later after the study. But in the beginning, go with you're showing your readiness to receive the knowledge. Upasidet, Sharanam Gachet, Guroho Sharanam Gachet, Katam, Vinayapurvakam Samipam Gachet, Guroho, Vinayapurvakam with humility. That Vinaya, that humility, not with arrogance, not with the attitude that I know everything. As we see in the Upanishad itself, the Shvetaketu, who thought he knows everything, finally was humbled by his father. When he told that he has studied everything in the Gurukulam, then the father asked, did you study Atma Vidya? He was speechless. Or like Narada, who studied all the Vidyas. No Vidya was not known to him. Everything he knows, except Bhuma Vidya. knowing which every vidya is known. That vidya I didn't know. Therefore, that's why humility, Vinaya Purvakam, Guru host, Samipam, Seva Bhavanaya, with the attitude of doing offering Seva. That is an expression to show that the Guru sees the value in the person and then decides to accept him or not. Because what is inside that manifests the form of attitude, the actions outside. So by that, the Guru can decide whether this knowledge would be really helpful or counterproductive. The person is not ready. He can be returned back. So therefore, Guru decides. Therefore, this Vinaya Purvakam, etc. Even if one feigns Vinaya, it can be easily read out. Guru can easily understand. Therefore, whether it's real Vinaya, some sacrifice, some tyaga is required. Like you give up something, your profession or your ashram, so whatever, wherever you were, and then going means then there is some sacrifice. You give up one thing and ready to live a life of some certain difficulty with limited things or convenience. One has to put up with all these things. The person must be ready. So all these engages. You see, therefore Vinaya is important. Because Vinaya Purvakam. Going then near going Gurum Pragyam Paside, that is the first step. Then Bhagavan says in the Gita, Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya. Go and fall flat at the feet of the teacher. This is not to boost the ego of the teacher. Ego, if the teacher is ego is boosted, then he is not a teacher. This is because the knowledge what we are going to get is Brahma Vidya. And that knowledge going to may set you free forever from this hold of samsara. Anadi avidya vasanaya, from the beginningless avidya, the person has been perpetuating in this samsara for millions and millions of years, taking all forms of life, this earth. And now the time has come for him. Person is ready, therefore he is going to get moksha. So it's a big thing. There is no more return. So that knowledge Guru only gives. Then shouldn't a person be be humble and show respect to the teacher who can help the person other than the teacher who represents the Lord itself, Bhagavan himself. That is Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. Ishvaro Guru Atmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine. What difference is there between Ishvara, Guru and Atma? There is no difference. That is why Ramana Maharishi, Atma is a Guru. But Atma is that our Bhagavan also has to come in the form of a teacher and then teach you. Finally, you have to understand. In that sense, Atma is a Guru. Even if Guru teacher, the student has to understand. Words come from the mouth of the teacher, the words of the Shastra. But understanding should happen in the buddhi of the person. So finally, the person has to understand how much of the teacher teaches. In that sense, Atma is the Guru. But the Shloka says Guru, Atma, and Ishvara, they are not different. They are only different in Upadhi. Forms are different, but they are same. Therefore, offering Namaskara to the Guru is offering Namaskara to the Lord, to the Ishvara. Therefore, Pranipatena, falling flat at the feet of the Guru, and then ask a question. Don't forget for what purpose you went to the teacher. Therefore, Tad Pariprashnena Sevaya, Seva should be done. Guru Sushrusha, it is called. Sushrusha. Sushrusha means Shotum Icha Sushrusha. Desire to hear, listen. That is called Sushrusha. For that Seva to be done. Guru Sushrusha is, we say even in Tamil also, Sushrusha. Sushrusha really meaning desire to hear, listen. Sushrusha. So Guroho Vachanam, Shrotum Icha, desire to listen to the words of the teacher. Not only the words of the Shastram, if Guru gives some work also, some karma, action, some seva, that also must be done. Guru seva. Either personal seva or seva to the ashram. Assuming the Guru is a jnani, he is a moral value, all the qualities are there in the person, he showed Triya Brahmanishta assuming. Okay. Because sometimes we get caught up with the fake gurus, they extract all sevas, so then one has to be aware. Because everywhere there is adulteration, even in the student, even in the teacher. And teacher also important, his qualities are also going to be talked about. Who is a teacher? Who can teach? That also is. Not the one who has learned without a teacher. Not that person. It's asampradaya. Asampradaya with the murkavat upekshaniyaha. One should discard the asampradaya with the one who doesn't come under sampradaya. His word should be dismissed, not accepted at all. So therefore, it must be sampradaya. It means the person must have studied from a teacher. It means the person must have imbibed some values, etc. Because without that teacher also, his teacher also would not have taught. So therefore, it all presupposes many things. That person, the Shastra makes it very tight. So that person. So therefore, Guru Ho Lakshanam, that is also going to be talked about. Guru Lakshanam. Shishya Lakshanam. Shishya Lakshanam. One is Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Other one is Shishya Lakshanam is how the Shishya should be, how should he behave, how should he act. It's all said in the Guru Gita also. How the Shishya should do seva to the teacher, etc. And Guru Lakshanam, that also going to be talked about later. Yes, you are asking something. So all good later Guru Lakshana also is going to be talked about. We will see. Now here, Yasmad Bandha Vimokshanam. Yasmad, therefore Yasmad Guroho Anugrahat, and Anugraha in the form of Upadesha. Therefore Anugrahat Upadeshat Samsara Bandhanat Mokshanam Vimokshanam. Bandha is Samsara Bandha. Samsara Bandhanat Janma Marana Rupat is Ajnanat Muktihi Mokshaha. Bandha Vimokshanam. Bandhat Vimokshanam. Bandha Vimokshanam, Panchami Tat Purusha. It is Apadana. Apadana Panchami. Bandhat Vimokshanam Bhavati Sambhavati. You can supply Kriyapadam. Therefore, in this shloka, Acharya, Shankaracharya says, a sadhaka who is endowed with the qualifications which have been said before, having gained, then that person, what he must do, that person, swaprayatnena atma jnanam praptam na shaknoti. By his own effort, independently, he cannot gain atma jnanam. Ataha, guru samipam gantavyam tena. He must approach a teacher. That itself is a big thing, knowledge. Everybody wants to, without being aware or having no knowledge of Shastram, etc., want to inquire into the truth. Maybe because of some Purva Samskaras, like Ramana Maharshi, etc., can come across, can arrive at the truth. Those are exceptions. Always there are exceptions. Like in Panini Sutra, we have exception. Utsarga Apavada is the general rule and exception. Exceptions cannot be the general rule. Exceptions are exceptions. And that also we say if Ramana Maharshi had gained knowledge without the help of a teacher, we say that because of his Purva Janma. In Purva Janma, he would have been a disciple to his teacher, and that is carried forward in to the next Janma. Therefore, in this Janma, he continued. And there are many examples like that, Vamadeva in the Shastram. Therefore, we should not quote wrong the examples wrongly. The teacher is always presupposed. It is there. Teacher and the Shastram. This is our Sampradaya's conviction. I won't say belief, it is conviction of the Sampradaya. Because Pramanam, without Pramanam, it is impossible to arrive at Atmajnanam. For every knowledge, there should be an appropriate means of knowledge. Every knowledge is preceded by the means of knowledge. Without the means of knowledge, knowledge is not possible. Pramanam must be there for Prameya, for any Prama, for any knowledge. If you want to know something, then you have to use appropriate means of knowledge. So therefore, that is taken for granted. We use all five sense organs, and have we ever thought that what the function eye does is different from the ear? We know, but we just take it for granted. We do. Ears only can listen it, and we know it, and we involuntarily all these actions we do. Smell only nose alone can smell. So therefore, every means of knowledge has got a role to play, and we apply that means of knowledge without even being taught. And when it comes to the Atmajnanam, for which the Pramanam is required, because it is a knowledge. Science also uses means of knowledge. It's all based on Pratyaksha, Pratyaksha Pramanam, perception, direct perception, and inferences, etc., based on direct perception. In fact, most of the scientific equipments they operate on Arthapati, two-step inference it is. So therefore, they are based on all means of knowledge. If that is so, then for self-knowledge, because it is a knowledge, it implies pramanam, without which it is not possible. So therefore, means of knowledge. Therefore, the person has to know that means of knowledge, as I said, it is this sampradaya. Therefore, one cannot, that means of knowledge being there, and that is with the teacher. Therefore, teacher is indispensable. Therefore, nobody can claim to be a teacher or a guru without having a teacher. If the person claims, then he is not a teacher. Sampradaya dismisses that person mercilessly. So therefore, a teacher is important. That is why people they proudly say, I have so and so guru, teacher. But that person also must have been a shishya to some other person. And he must have been shishya. That's it, parampara, guru parampara iti. Paramparaya prapta vidya. Paravara in the Mundagopanishad we saw. Vidya Pratishtha, and it is Paravara. Parasmat Guru Avarena Shishyena Prapta Vidya, this Paravara Vidya. So therefore, the student, the person, the seeker, the sadhaka, who is called Tatta Jignasuhu, Swasya Yatartha Swarupam Nyatam Ichahu, who is desirous of knowing one's Swarupa, he must go to the teacher. Therefore, why he wants to know Yata Atma Swarupam, Yatartha Swarupam? Because that is the only means to remove dukkha. Dukkasya, the samsara is dukkam. Samsaram sagaram dukkam. Tasma jagrata. Therefore, samsara dukkha, that is dvaita. This dvaita buddhi is dukkha. This dvaita prapancha, because that is what we perceive, this dvaita prapancha, the duality, the second thing always create fear. The second thing always create fear, always create limitations and therefore fear. Even in our workplace also, a person who is equally competent or more competent, he becomes a threat, or we feel that person as a threat, a competitor. So therefore, Dvaitadhi Bhayam Bhavati. So therefore, Dvaitam, that is what our Anubhava is without being taught. So therefore, that is samsara. Samsara is nothing but another way of defining it is Dvaita. So therefore, Dukkasya Karanam. And that Dvaita Buddhi, which is due to Ajnanam, can go away only by Swarupa Jnanam. Swarupasya Ajnanam, Dukkha Karanam. Dukkasya Nivrittihi Atmajnanena Bhavati. Ataha Guroho Samipam Gantavyam. Yasmad Bandha Vimokshanam. Tasya Guroho Upadeshena Eva. Ajnanakrita Samsara Bandhanat Muktihi Sambhavati. Yasmat. From the Guru Upadeshat alone, mokshanam is possible from this bandha, this samsara bandha. Gurum bina jnanam na bhavati, jnanam bina mokshaha na bhavati. This must be clearly understood. Without a teacher, jnanam is not possible. Not only Vedanta, even Sanskritam also. So many websites and supports are available. Without a teacher, to study. Even I tried when I was a student or not was a student. When I was in the Ramakrishna mission, I wanted to learn Sanskritam on my own, bought books and all, but nothing I could study. Meaning that no, I couldn't understand anything. It the letter itself, it the prakranam doesn't make any sense to me. What is it? Some teaching, some help, some guide is required. So Guru Bina Jnanam, any Jnanam in fact, it's not possible. Even for cooking also. Somebody, even for stealing also, you require a teacher. What to talk of all this? Even for stealing. How to steal, how to rob, for that also training is required. So Guru Bina Jnanam na bhavati. And Jnanam Bina Moksha is completely ruled out. So very clearly it is to be understood that Jnanam is only means, and for which Guru is, Shastram is indispensable. Tad Vijnanatam sa Guru Meva Bigachet. Tad Vijnanartam Atma Tattvam Vijnanatam Parma Tattva Jnanatam, a sadhaka having Samit in his hand should approach a Guru. If the knowledge can be gained by any other means, like tarka, reasoning, etc., as many modern philosophers or scientists they do, cannot be, cannot arrive at, because they all come based on the perception, knowledge of perception, perceptual knowledge. Atma is not perceived. In fact, it is there in every perception. We are not discussing about the thing which are perceived. We are discussing about the perceiver who is there in all perceptions and he cannot be perceived. Therefore, Nesha Tarkena Matirapaneya Proktan Yenaiva Sujnanaya Preshta Katoprishat clearly says by Tarka. Atmajnanam Kevalam Tarkena na Prapyate. By Tarka, by logic. These logics are dry logic, Shushka Tarka. Shankaracharya says Shushka Tarka. Dry logic, you cannot arrive at Atma Tattva. Tarka is required. The Tarka should be in keeping with the Shastra. Shastra, Shastranu Tarka. If the Tarka is independent, then it is Shushka Tarka, dry logic. Therefore, by Tarkena na prapyate Atma Jnanam, Guruna Eva, Guruna Upadishtam Eva Sata Jnanam Bhavati. And in Chandogya, it's a beautiful sentence. Acharyavan Purushaha Veda. Acharyavan, Acharyavat Shabda. Like Balavan, Balavan, Balavanto. The one who has got Bala is called Balavan. One who has got strength is called Balavan. Balavan means the person, referring to the person who has strength. Dhanavan, rich man, Dhanam Asti. The one who has got Dhanam. Similarly, Acharyavan, one who has got Acharya, teacher. Means a person as a teacher, that person Veda, he knows. Yasya acharya asti, guru asti, saha tattvam janati. He knows the truth. He is helpless. Helplessly has to understand the truth. What a statement, Chandogya, Acharyavan Purushaha Veda. So therefore Acharya teacher is required for every knowledge and there is no question about with regard to Atmajnanam. Therefore Upadekshyanti te Jnanam Jnaninaha Tattvadarshinaha Gita Tattvadarshi Tattvam Drashtum Sheelam Eshamte. The Tattvadarshi who sees Tattva for whom the Tattva is Tattva is his vision. His life is based on this tattva, the vision, how he conducts himself. Tattvadarshi. He sees only Advaita. In spite of Dvaita, is he sees Advaita. For him, Advaita is the reality. How, in fact, later, further when we study, or in other case, Upanishad, etc., we have seen, because you perceive this Jagat, it doesn't establish Dvaitam. The Dvaitam, arriving at Dvaitam, the duality is also based on no inquiry. Avichara Siddha is this Dvaita. In fact, this itself is a proof for Advaitam. We have discussed this point in other places in Upanishad. The Jagat is there, Jiva is there, the upper perception duality. That is not the proof for Dvaitam, but it is establishes Advaitam. Anyway, see, that's all based on thinking, logic, and of course, Shastra Pramanam. That is why teacher is required. Therefore, it's very clear. Guru Sharanam is avashyakam. You have to surrender to that. After having gone to the teacher, then you should not doubt the teacher. Doubting the teacher is doubting the Shastra. Once, once having gone to the teacher and surrendered, then you must have Shraddha. That is why Shraddha as an important quality mentioned already before. Shraddha. Astikya Buddhi. Shastre Astikya Buddhi is what is Shraddha. Shraddha is not blind belief. It's not a belief and it is not even blind also. Having having the accepting the Shastram as a pramana. That is what is Shraddha is. Real definition of Shraddha is accepting Shastram as a pramanam. That is what Shraddha is. As we accept our means of available means of knowledge, like eyes, ears, nose, etc. We don't doubt that. We don't doubt the knowledge which it gives. So too the knowledge conveyed by the Shastra is undoubtedly is accepted. At least in the beginning, some pending understanding, as Swamiji says. We may not be completely accept because we have got some preconceived ideas, notions, and having scientific background. Therefore, we may question everything, but keeping aside everything, giving the benefit of doubt to the Shastram and the teacher. That is what is Shraddha is. Shraddhavan, Shraddhavan Purushaha Veda, Acharyavan Purushaha Veda, like that Shraddha also. Samshayatma Vinashyati in Gita, Bhagavan says, the one who doubts, doubting Thomas will perish. So therefore, Guroho Upasadanam and listening to the words of the Shastram from the teacher, accepting with complete Shraddha, gaining Jnanam, Yasmad Bandha Vimokshanam. From that, a person is released from this samsara. Those things are not mentioned. Having gone to the teacher, then the person is liberated, means how it will be liberated. Guru will touch you, then you become suddenly moksha, like what you see in serials and cinema. It's not like that. Touching, sparshana, sparshadiksha, etc. It's all nice to hear. If Guru can in no moment can make a person a asamsari by touching, it would be good, but doesn't happen because Knowledge alone liberates, we say. And knowledge Shastram, therefore one has to study. There is no other way. Once again, we are all have to become student to pursue Shastra, to study Shastram. This is a second studentship in life. The Shastra Shravanam alone, Shastra Shravanam and Mananam Nididhyasanam. If a person Uttama Adhikari, then Shastra Shravanena Jnanam Bhavati, then Jnanina Mokshaha api. Therefore, Yasmad Bandha Vimokshanam. Iti. Then the Vyakyanam, Tika, Ukta Sadhara Sampannaha, Uktani Vichara Sadhanatvena Katitani Yani Vivekadini Sadhanani, Taihi Sampannaha Yuktaha Puman Iti Sheshaha. Spashtameva. The person is endowed with, equipped with the sadhana like Viveka, etc. etc. means Vairagya, etc. All those things we have seen, and Acharya has beautifully established how one is the Karanam, other one is the Karya. That Karana Karya Sambandha, the cause effect relationship between the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, Acharya has beautifully done. In fact, no other places I have seen, like in this commentary, Vishingari Acharya, where he has beautifully presented the Sambandha between the Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Without even other one is not possible. So therefore, endowed with the means that sadhana chatushtaya sampati viveka etc., which we already talked about. Therefore, purvakta, vivekadini, the person is endowed with. So these are the prerequisites for the inquiry into the truth. Therefore, yuktaha, we have to supply the word puman. Puman means purushaha, not only pullinga. Puman is pum shabda. Puman, pumamsa, pumamsaha. Puman is male. Then what about stri? Should we leave out stri? In fact, in the Sampradaya, they may say Puman, but Puman means you have to understand a person. It should be a Manushyaha. That is important. Manushyaha, Puman iti, person that we have to supply. Iti Sheshaha. Okay. Then Atmanaha Swasya. Tattvam Jnatam Ichchatu. Swayathatma Jnana Kamaha Upasidet Sharanam Gachet. Kam Gurum Upadeshakam. We go and beg for so many things from different people. What is then why don't what is the problem in going to the teacher and asking for knowledge with humility? But it is the Guru, others will give their egos has to be satiated and they may give a penny. Guru will going to free you from this samsara which you have been holding or caught in it for millions and millions of births. Therefore, here he says, desiring to know one's own true nature. Atmanaha swasya tattvam Jnatum Ichuhu, the person who is desirous of knowing. Swayatatmya Jnana Kamaha. Swayatatmya Jnana Kamaha. Swasya Yatatmya Jnanam and Jnanam Kamaha, the desire. Desire to know one's own true nature. That is Jnatum Ichuhu. The desire is Kamaha. This is referring to a person. This word, the compound. Swayatatmya Jnana Kamaha, referring to the person. Swasya Yatatmyam, that is Swaswarupam. Swayatatmya Jnanam, Swayatatmya Jnanam, Kamaha, Icha, Yasya Saha, the Bhagavurgi compound. Swayatatmya Jnane, Kamaha, Yasya Saha, one who has got. Because Jnatam Ichuhu, that he explains, suppose it's a compound, Bhagavurgi compound. Kamaha, not desire, that's a part of the compound referring to the person. Swayatatmya Jnana Kamaha. Swayatatmya Jnane, that is Atma Jnane, Kamaha, Icha, Yasya Saha. One who has got desire. Upasidet, Sharanam Gachet. Upasidet, Sharanam Gachet. May he surrender, go, Sharanam Gachet. Going is not just going, means walking. Going and means taking refuge. Approach, surrender. That is after having asked and surrendered to the Shastram which comes from the mouth of the teacher. Of course, surrender also in terms of whatever the duties or, the Guru gives in the Gurukulam, that one has to diligently do. Personal seva like washing clothes, etc. also is Guru seva. So therefore, Sharanam Gachit come, that also says Gurum Upadeshakam is Upadeshaka. He is the one Upadeshaka who gives Upadesha. Tam Sharanam Gachit. Kidrisham Guru, that also gives Prajnam. What kind of Guru he must be? He is Prajnaha, not Prakarshena Ajnaha. Prajnaha. Prakrishta Niratishaya Nya Avagatihi Prajna Brahma Sakshatkaraha. The word Prajnaha. Prajnaha referring to Prakrishta Niratishaya. That is, this Avagatihi, this Nya Asya Asti iti Prajnaha. Saha eva Prajnaha. So Prajnaha eva Prajnaha. Tasya Prajna Pratishtita comes in Gita. Prajna, the man of wisdom. That's what Prakrita Niratishaya. Nya means Avagamanam, Avagatihi, understanding. Nya is understanding. The one who possesses Prajna is called Prajnaha. Prajnaha eva Prajnaha. That is a person who is firmly established in Brahmanishta. Brahmanishta is Brahma Sakshatkaraha. Firmly established in this. And who is that Prajnaha? The Prajnaha, in fact, it is defined in a beautiful way in the Shloka, which is in the Vivekachudamani itself. Later we will see 428 Shloka number. Paramatmano Shoditayo Reka Bhavah Tagini Nirvikalpa Chachinmatra Vrittihi Prajneti Katyate. What is Prajna is defined in this Shloka. I think we will stop here. We will see from here in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Dhanyavadaha.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
धन्यवाद धन्यवाद
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.